Listen, try your best not to be too hard on yourself. I know I've talked about a lot of different topics, and I talk a lot about discipline and motivation and doing a whole bunch of things that you need to do to keep up on your mental health and your physical health. But I have noticed that, when I talk to a lot of people about these kinds of things, they get into kind of a mental pattern where it just feels overwhelming. And then when they're not able to do all of the things, they get really, really hard on themselves. I want you to realize that it's okay if you don't do everything every day just right. I also want you to recognize that just because you feel negative emotion when you're trying to do all of these things, that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing anything wrong, that you're doing anything bad, that you're not doing it the right way, and that it's okay that you're having a bad day or that you're just struggling that day. We all have days like that, and this is really obvious, but I think one thing that is another skill for people to learn is being able to, get back up on the horse. It's being able to understand that you're having just a bad day and that it's temporary and that you can have a better day tomorrow, or like I said in one of my other videos, you can change your moods that day. And if you can't, you're not able to, it's okay. Like, I think one of the things in this world is we have to cut ourselves some slack. We have to give ourselves some grace when it comes to not being perfect with all of the things that we have to do, because there is a lot of things that are required of us. Do we want to be self-motivated? Yes. Do we want to be disciplined? Yes. We want to meditate. We want to do all these kinds of things, but there's days when you just don't feel like it. There's days when you just struggle, and I want you to know that that's just okay. And I'm sure that you've had that thought and other people tell you that. It's kind of a cliche thing, but I really want you to internalize that it genuinely is okay if you're having a bad day or if you're struggling, and to just do the best that you can to not beat yourself up. Again, what does beating yourself up do? It goes back to the video about guilt. All it does is it just ends up making you feel worse about your abilities to do all of these things in the future. So it doesn't help in any way to be really hard on yourself. Just recognize that it's a crappy feeling, and that it's temporary. Parents do this too. Parents can get really hard on themselves if they feel like they're not parenting correctly, or if they have a bad day, they get angry at their kids or whatever. And then they get to a point where they start to even separate from their kids because they're afraid that they're gonna get angry with their kid again or whatever. And then their self-esteem and their thoughts and abilities about their ability to be able to parent just goes down. And then what does that do? That just makes it more difficult to feel like you can be a good parent. Like I said in the self-esteem video, I think a lot of our mental health issues are resolved when we feel like we have a lot of self-confidence and that our self-esteem is at a high level. Because once we do believe that even when we have bad days, we're not as hard on ourselves if we feel good about ourselves all of the other times throughout the week or month or whatever. So please do this. Just be kind to yourself. Try not to be too hard on yourself. Recognize emotions for what they are. They're temporary feelings. Negative and positive emotions are fleeting. They come, they go. That's just how emotions work. And so, again, don't interpret the emotion. Don't think with your feelings. Don't interpret the emotion to mean that I am a horrible person, or I'm, whatever it is that you're hard on yourself about. And if you're not feeling it that day, it's all good. Don't stress. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this, and if you have a tendency to be too hard on yourself. And if you do, how do you change that? I'd be curious to know, and I think the other people watching these videos would benefit from that.